Good afternoon. Welcome back to Near Post Flick On. Right, so the end of game week one. It's some interesting results there. Some interesting results. Some very predictable results as well in some cases. However, the Premier League is up and running. The first game of the season was, of course, between Liverpool and Bournemouth. Liverpool played well for most of the game, but you have to give credit to Bournemouth because they held on and they equalised a couple of times, and it looked like the game would end 2-2. But Liverpool did pull it out the bag in the end through Chiesa on the 88th minute, and of course Salah adding the fourth goal on the 90th or in the 94th minute of injury time, making the score 4-2 to Liverpool. Liverpool do look good. Ekatike definitely impressed in that game. However, they will need to win. Well, they can't. Well, to be honest, if you really want to win the Premier League, you can't afford to drop points. So it depends on how you want to look at it. You can't afford to drop points because it looks like everybody is on it this season, and it's going to be a very, very tough season. But the most important thing is that Liverpool got their first 3 points at Anfield, so it's onwards and upwards for them. Going on to the Saturday round of games, we had Aston Villa taking on Newcastle. I actually predicted Aston Villa would win that game, but unfortunately they didn't. And the reason why I thought they would win it is because they had the home advantage, and of course Newcastle are without Isak. So I thought Aston Villa would win the game, but it didn't. The game ended 0-0. It was, I mean, they both teams, to be fair, did have chances. Both teams had chances, but you always felt Villa would nick it, but it just wasn't to happen. Wasn't meant to be. The next game was between Brighton and Fulham. Again, I did predict Brighton to win the game, but it was a draw. O'Reilly scored a penalty in the 55th minute. And of course, Fulham literally equalised with the last kick of the game. So they were quite fortunate. So that game ended 1-1. Going on to Spurs against Burnley. Of course, Burnley newly promoted. So they are going to be wanting to kind of make a stamp on the Premier League, but I've already predicted that I can't see them staying up this season. Some Burnley fans may feel differently and feel they've got a chance, but I can't see it. Opening game for Spurs at White Hart Lane or the Tottenham Stadium, if you like. Tottenham won that game 3-0. I thought Kudos was absolutely magnificent in that game, absolutely brilliant. Richarlison probably scored a contender for goal of the season with the scissors kick finish. So the game ended 3-0. Scorers Richarlison with 2 goals and Brennan Johnson with the 1 goal. So Spurs winning that game 3-0. Moving on to the next game, Sunderland against West Ham. Again, I predicted West Ham would win this game, but because Sunderland are, of course, a newly promoted side from the Championship as well. But unfortunately for West Ham, they've had to start the season with a goal, with their first defeat to Sunderland, and this season is going to be very tough for all teams. So in games where you're expected to win, you need to win those games, and you need to pick up your 3 points. Otherwise, you're going to have a very, very long, long season ahead. So, congratulations to Sunderland. They won the game 3-0. And I'm sure that they will be excited with that victory and having 3 points on the board so early in the season. Moving on to the next game, Wolves take on Manchester City. Manchester City have won the Premier League for the last, I don't know, 5, 6 seasons, barring the Liverpool win last year. So, of course, Pep Guardiola and his side, they're going to be looking to make a statement. And they made that statement by battering and absolutely destroying Wolves 4-0. There was only going to be one outcome. Erling Haaland seems to have found his winning ways again. He's scoring touch again. He scored 2 goals in that game. And then new boys, Rangers and Turkey, both on the score sheets and both had incredible games. This is what I said. This is why I said it comes down to some of the summer signings, and it looks like Manchester United. I'm sorry, I beg your pardon. Manchester City have addressed the issues that they had, and I'm telling you, they are going to be very strong this season. So Manchester City winning that game against Wolves 4-0. Going on to the Sunday games, we had Chelsea taking on Crystal Palace. So this was quite a surprising result because I felt Chelsea would win that game. Chelsea have been one of the best sides in pre-season, but then you can argue and say, pre-season doesn't mean anything. They've won the Club World Cup, beating PSG again. Again, you could argue and say that doesn't mean anything, but it is a major trophy at the end of the day. So I did think Chelsea were going to win that game against Crystal Palace, but Crystal Palace are no pushovers, and they've proved it time and time again. That game ended goalless, but Chelsea, if they are to compete for the Premier League title, will need to find a result ASAP, and they can't afford to drop too many points because City look like they're on fire, and Liverpool certainly look like they're on fire as well. So if you want to keep up with the early pacemakers, you have to win your games, and you've got to accumulate your points early. Going on to the next game, Nottingham Forest beat Brentford 3-1. Chris Woods again on the score sheet. He's been really, really. I mean, he was impressive last season, but it seems to have carried on in the same fashion. So Nottingham Forest winning that game 3-1. Chris Woods scored twice, and then Ndoye added a third before Thiago pulled one back through a penalty in the 78th minute for Brentford. It's going to be a mammoth task for Brentford this season. I've already predicted that I can't see them staying up this year. If they do stay up this year, that's credit to them. Credit to them if they can stay up this year, but I just can't see it. The magnitude of the task at hand is just too much. It's just too much of a mountain for them to climb. And if they do it, then you take your hat off to them. Going on to the game of the weekend, Manchester United taking on Arsenal. Arsenal won that game 1-0, but it doesn't the scoreline doesn't really reflect the performance. So Manchester United were the better team. I know that sounds surprising to say, but Manchester United were the better team in that game, and Arsenal will probably be thanking their lucky stars and count themselves fortunate that they were able to walk away from Old Trafford with 3 points. And they weren't really that impressive, Arsenal. I thought they would have been, seeing as they've now gotten a new striker, a new number 9 in Gyökeres. But maybe it will take time for him to settle in. But Manchester United look like a team transformed. I predicted that they may finish 9th or 10th this year. But you know what? I won't be surprised if they edge themselves into that top 5, top 4 positioning. So look out for Manchester United this season. They look like a team reborn. Moving on to the game on Monday, Leeds took on Everton at Ellen Road, and Leeds won that game 1-0. Again, I have predicted that Leeds will stay up this season because I think of all the championship sides that have been promoted this year, they probably seem the most likely to stay up, and they do play some good football. And it's you can't kind of rule against that. You've got to give them credit. But Everton, yeah, Everton, they're away. Everton may struggle this season. I can't really see much that Everton are going to offer this year. I know they've got Jack Grealish in the side now, but yeah, he's not exactly a world beater at the moment, is he? But yeah, let's see what the round. Well, let's see what game week 2 brings. See how that goes, and hopefully we'll get some more entertaining football. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you very much.